Hello chaps and chappets, and welcome to another Board Games Everybody Should a video series where I take a board game, I show you how it's played, and then I don't give you just one review, I give you two reviews. A technical review looking at the components and the mechanisms of the game, and a personal review where I tell you how the game feels. In this video I'm going to be looking at a game which is derived from an older game. We've seen some great hits come out in the past, like King of Tokyo, which derived from Yahtzee, and we've seen King Domino derived from dominoes. But in this game, Dragon Castle, you're looking at a game which is derived from Mahjong, a Chinese game, and in particular, the solitaire version of Mahjong, which you've probably played 1,000 times on your PC. Now, let's take this to the table and show you how it plays, and then I'll let you decide. Is this going to be a classic like King of Tokyo and King Domino? Maybe they should put it King Dragon Castle. Maybe it will be a personal great hit then. King, yeah. Cue credits. At the beginning of the game, each player will take one of these realm cards and place it in front of themselves. This is where you're going to be building your own castle from the ruins of another. You can also take one of these handy dandy reference cards as well. Each player will also start with a shrine which they have put into their reserve. In the middle of the table you'll place one of these boards, depending on the number of players needed. This board will represent the old castle which is being destroyed bit by bit. Next, you'll take the 116 Mahjong tiles and randomly mix them up and add them to the central board. Also, if you wish, there is a blank board and some suggestive castles that you can build to make a bit of variety. And then for you slightly hardcore gamers, you take one of the random dragon cards and one random spirit card. Each of the dragon cards will offer you ways to score points at the end of the game, and each of the spirit cards will offer you a power that you can use during the game. You will place this spirit card and dragon card next to the board so everybody can see what the special power is and how to get extra points at the end of the game. Next, you'll add the countdown tokens to the board. If you play a two-player game, you place a countdown token on the two-player, the explanation, and then all the rest will go at the end. Then obviously if you're playing a four-player game, you would cover up to the 4-player mark. You'll also need to place the shrines next to the board and also the victory point tokens. Then you're going to need to designate a start player and give them the start player token, as the game can finish on anybody's turn, but everybody needs to have the same amount of turns to complete the game. So how do you play? Well, on a player's turn, they can do one of three actions. One of the actions a player can do is take two matching tiles. The only thing is, one of these tiles must come from the highest pile in the castle. The other tile can come from any level. So for example, I could not take these two red swords out due to the fact this is on level 2, that's on level 1, but we have level 3 tiles here. And like in normal Mahjong, you can't take a tile which is buried in the middle. It must always have an exposed edge that you can pull it out with, and it has to be the long edge. Another action you can do is you can take any tile from the top level, and with it you can collect a shrine from the reserve and add it to your own reserve. And the third possible action you can do, again, take a tile from one of the highest, tallest towers and then put it next to the side of the board face down. It is now considered discarded, but then you can collect a victory point. Now, depending if you did the first or the second action, you will have either two tiles or one tile in your hand. These tiles will then need to be added to your realm. You can place them in any of the spaces available face up, as long as the space is empty. At any time when four or more tiles touch each other orthogonally, not diagonally, you'll have to consolidate them. By consolidating them, you will turn them face down and you will collect the amount of victory points for the amount of tiles that have been consolidated. So for example, that 4 black tile consolidation would give me 2 points. But if I managed to do 7, it would give me 6 points. So coming up with clever ways to consolidate your tiles and get lots of points is a viable strategy. When you have a face down tile, you can actually place another tile on top of it. And this will count as if they were touching, and these 4 tiles will be consolidated. Now, depending on the colors of the tiles that you consolidate, there will be an after effect that corresponds with it. So for example, with the red, green and yellow tiles, whenever you consolidate, you will get to do a special action. That special action is add a shrine onto one of the tiles that you have just consolidated, which means that you can no longer place any tiles on top of that one there. And you can only add a shrine if you have any in your reserve. If you consolidate with the blue or the black tiles, your special after power is you can add up to 2 shrines to your castle. And if you consolidate with pink tiles, you can add 2 shrines to your castle and gain 1 point in victory. Although shrines block you from building tall towers, they do give you bonus points at the end of the game. So a shrine level 1 will give you 1 point, a shrine level 2 will give you 2 points, a shrine level 3 or more will give you 3 points. At any time on your turn, either before or after you take your action, you can summon up a favor from a spirit. To do this, you'll need to discard a face-up tile from your realm, or you can discard a shrine from your reserve pool. You can then do the special action supplied by that spirit, but only once on your turn. Talking about the end of the game, how does the game end? Well, when there are no tiles 2 or 3 high on the main board, you'll get an extra action that you can possibly perform. This action is to summon a dragon. You simply take a summon dragon tile from the left hand side, it will give you 2 points, and you place that in front of yourself. And then once all the tokens have been taken and the exclamation mark appears, that means that it's the end of the game. You will continue playing until you get back to the first player. Once the game is ended, you'll count up all your point tokens that you've collected, your score points for all your shrines in your realm, you'll add up your summoned dragon tokens, and you'll apply any scoring that you've done which corresponds with the dragon card. The player with the most points wins the game. So let's start with the technical part of the review, what you're getting in the box. We start with the art. The art is this watercolor, wishy-washy Asian look, and it works really well. It ties in with the theme. The thing that captures me the most about it is you don't even notice that it's there when you're playing the game. It's there, it's on the mat, it's on the cards, but you don't even notice it. It doesn't like punch you in the face and remind you about something or other. Then you have the iconography on the spirits and the dragon cards. You won't know what the powers are, you have to reference them, but after a while you do start to get to know them. Although it's very, very clear iconography, it's a case of, well, this is new to me, let's look in the rulebook. So while we're talking about the rulebook is a work of art, again, from Horrible Games. It is nicely spaced out, it is very, very well produced, it's very, very easy to understand the rules. They've highlighted words which you really need to know. They put examples in the right places. Everything is perfect. They've even got little boxes as normal with this rule does this, but you can't do that with this rule. So little reminders of, people that obviously play tested it have tried something and they said, man, no, you can't do that. And so they put it in a little side section and it works really well. It's very, very well laid out, excellent rulebook. You get a very nice box insert which holds everything perfectly, which is what I like. And then you get the pieces that go in the game. The score tokens are a nice thick card, which is very nice. The shrines are very detailed and very beautiful just to look at. And then you have the Mahjong tiles, which are a nice chunky plastic and they're very clearly engraved and colored. you know, these look like they're gonna last a long time. Now, I don't know how real Mahjong tiles feel, but these feel nice. And then the player boards and the main boards, they are just a kind of quite thin cardboard. They could have been thicker, but I think that they cut back on them being thicker due to the fact that the amount of stuff that you get in this box, it probably did cost quite a bit to get these 116 Mahjong tiles in. So let's get to the mechanisms of the game. It's unashamedly Mahjong. It hasn't even bothered to disguise the fact that it's Mahjong. Like a lot of other games they do, they try to disguise themselves as something else. Sapiens disguises itself so you don't recognize it as a domino game. But when you start playing it, you go, oh yes, it's a domino game, but with cavemen and I'm making a chain. This is, yeah, it's Mahjong. What can you say? But it has this scoring mechanism that when you take the tiles off, you're building your own little castle next to it. So you're taking this castle apart and building your own castle. You're implanting some shrines, which are going to give you some points. Then you've got this little side section where you can activate one special power whenever you want, just to help you out. And then you have like, as I said, a dragon at the end, which you can try and get you extra points. Another objective to aim for, apart from just building temples all the time. It really is a kind of point salad-y game where it's you trying to make clumps of tiles the same color to transform them into points, and at the same time you're trying to make higher and higher levels in your castle to try and get you more points by adding the shrines, which kind of like level cap them out. And then you're trying to aim for, as I said, the objectives of the dragons, which are in your game. And then you have the countdown system, which is an end game mechanism, which is another way that you can get points. And then you can also get points by just throwing a tile out the game. So there's loads of ways to get points. There's always some kind of strategy, and there's always, you know, it's observation and planning. The thing I would say is that it's not going to be you're building your own castle and you're going to be blocked in your own little world here. This is a game where you will need to look at what the other players are doing and try to muck them up. The game doesn't suggest it, but this is like a strategy that you will find out later on in the game. So in regards to the gaming mechanisms, they're solid. They work. If you like Mahjong, and I'm sure that a lot of people like Mahjong, this mechanism is going to please you to bits because it is Mahjong and you get to set the tiles up instead of click a button and have it all done for you. And there you go. My technical review. This game is a work of art as a technical piece. It is clearly a 10 out of 10 from the pieces, the mechanics, and the art. Brilliant. Okay, now my personal review. I like this game. I like this game quite a bit. It is a very nice, relaxing kind of family style game. This is a board game that everybody will find their yin and yang with. Yes, I'm being cliche. There is something zen about this game. When you play games like Carcassonne or everything, you're like, always worried that someone's going to take the space that you're planning to put your tile, or if you're playing Catan, you're always stressing because your number never comes up. With a game like this, there's no stress. There's like, well, there's an infinite amount of options open to you and tiles for you to take. Now, I've played 2-player and I've played 3-player. I haven't played 4-player yet, but I don't find the game too long while waiting with other players to make their moves. It's a game of observation. You're looking at the tiles in the middle of the table and you're trying to plan out your strategy. And so you'll take quite a bit of time doing that. And while you're thinking, nothing's going to affect what you do on your next turn apart from the tiles that the other players are going to take. And there's, as I said, there's lots of combinations. You're always taking a tile from the top, and then you're always taking a tile from somewhere else, or you're taking a shrine, or you're getting some points. And so your choices of action are pretty limited, but at the same time, with all the different tiles and the different combinations that you can get, there's a lot open to you. You could just go for the dragons and try and get maximum points because you're adding 2 shrines and you're getting a victory point at the same time. Or you could just go for all the general colors, the reds and the greens, and just make huge castle and then get maximum points because you've got 8 tiles all connected, and all of a sudden you turn them over and you get maximum points. You put a shrine on, yay! And then you've got a lot of space to make level 2 or maybe level 3 shrines. So the combinations of strategies there's quite a lot of them. The game has its own timing mechanism, which is great because then the games don't go on too long. I've never felt like a game was dragging on, even when you're playing with someone who is really a deep, you know, an AP player who's like, right, if I take those 2 tiles. Yes, there's interaction, and you will need to look at the other players and see what they're doing. I managed to screw someone over who was they'd set up about 7 pink dragon tiles and they just wanted 1 more so they could connect them all together, and blang, I screwed them over and managed to cling on to a victory of 2 points. The games are very tight. The scoring is very tight. This game has a really nice little learning curve to it. It's very quick to pick up. It's very easy to play. There's a lot of tiles and you've got to stack them up, and they're very, very nice plastic, but they do slide around quite a bit. And while you're setting up, sometimes you knock a stack over and so you have to restack them again. And then again, when you're doing your castle and you're turning them all over because they're all connected, you are gonna knock towers over and shrines are gonna go slightly off places, and that's a tad annoying when your castle falls apart at your fingertips. Probably not practical for people that have sausage fingers either. You know, that's a minor niggle. Another minor niggle is I wish that there were 2 powers and 2 dragons, so you have 2 other ways of scoring at the end of the game, and then maybe people can choose, you know, the players will either, right, no, I'm not going to bother going for the dragon power, or I'm going to go for that dragon, or I'm going to go for that dragon, or I'm going to go for both the dragons. You know, a little bit of variety. It did feel kind of, but as I said, the game felt zen-y, but at the same time, I just wish there was just this little bit more of a challenge to it. This is a really nice, calm, peaceful, relaxing game, which is I'd like playing with the family on a calm Sunday afternoon when the rain is gently tapping on the rooftops and I've got some music playing in the background. This is one of those games which is open to, you know, my family who don't play board games and my family here who do play board games. This is just such a nice, light, refreshing, fun thing to do. My personal BGG score for this is a 9 out of 10. This is a really enjoyable game. Apart from setup and the twinkly little tiles, this game is just fun. It doesn't have a lot of challenge, but it's just a kind of like, you know, let's step in a puddle over there and splash each other and then carry on walking. It's that kind of, it's just a light bit of fun, but it's a nice big family box style game. There you go. So, my technical score and my BGG score meshed together give you an overall score of 9.5 out of 10, which is pretty good for a game. This game is going to sit on my classic shelf with my Carcassonne and my Catan. This is a game that I'm probably going to keep forever and ever, because even when I don't play with other people, I could just play Solitaire Mahjong. Nothing wrong with that, is there? So I'd like to say thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that it's been informative for you and pointed you in the direction whether Dragon Castle is a game for you or not, because you don't have to own every single board game out there. You just need to own a few good ones, and hopefully I'm pointing you in the right direction if this is a game for you or not. So I'm going to say thank you very much for watching this video to the end, and if you liked it, give it a like. If you know someone that might like this game, share this video with them. And if you want to help donate some money towards the video series that I make, you can go to my Patreon and maybe pick up yourself some promos or enter yourself into my monthly prize draw. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I'll say ciao for now. And remember, please play nicely with each other. It's only a game. Just sitting at the table next to Felicia would be quite nice. Wouldn't it be good? I got some board games, I don't know